Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you guys are here today. Hi, welcome. Post Thanksgiving, pre-Christmas. I figured we'd just sit down and play with some makeup, kind of like what I normally do, but December's a little bit weird because I'm doing all these, you know, declutters and stuff like that. Throwing out some extra content for you guys. Today I've got a couple new products I'm excited to play with. Probably products that you've seen from everybody else in the world. And then I have some products that, one I've been playing with quite a bit lately, two I've been playing with quite a bit lately, and then like several other products for fun. I do have a little bit of the Natasha Denona anti-aging lift primer on. I didn't bring it in here, sorry. I picked up this iconic London, what is it called? Underglow Blurring Primer. Now, because I already have the other stuff on, do I really need two primers? No, but YouTube made me buy this. This is what the bottle looks like. It's actually beautiful. Got my phone turned off so we don't get interrupted with it. Anyway, I'd heard really good things about this, just as a glow but blurring primer. So I figured we would give it a little bit of a try and see how it looks on today's skin. So today's kind of a chill day for me. It's not going up on the day that I film it because I tend to pre-film because of like my regular job and my travel for my regular job and, you know, life and stuff like that. So I pre-film a lot of stuff and try to get it up there relatively quickly. You may see a couple more videos where I have a different background, and that's because I pre-film them and then I kept bumping them for new products, which sometimes I choose to do if I got something new coming in. Okay, that's actually, you know what, it feels actually pretty good. It is not, I was worried that it was going to be like a highlighter glowy, because I think I do have a iconic London highlighter, and my skin just feels brighter. This is actually really nice. Underglow Blurring Primer. I'm gonna keep using this. I'm very excited about that one. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of my Charlotte Tilbury concealer. This is a relatively new one. Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer. You would think I would know that. I'm really enjoying this down here under my, well, where my dark circles tend to be. It does seem to build up, maybe not as much as I'd like to, just on blemishes, but I've been really enjoying it. Quickly become my favorite concealer. I'm not gonna say of all time, but maybe. So I've got a damp damp sponge here. I think it's too much for me. I need to find a little like concealer type. I didn't bring in my good concealer brush. I thought I had a good concealer brush in here, but I don't. So we're gonna use this one. I mean, not that this is a bad one, but it's just not that I wanted. My favorite, I've got two favorite concealer brushes. If you guys are a concealer brush applicator type individual, the one from e.l.f. is gonna be my more economical one. And then there's one from Hourglass that I've really been liking lately. This one is neither. So I'm feeling pretty productive today, you guys. I have edited a couple of videos, done some laundry. I've all my Christmas shopping done. Very excited about that. Okay, so today I actually want to use the Patrick Ta. If you guys saw my earlier video with the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions and Major Headlines 2, both of them were number 2, you saw that my original palette, I think I got like shade 1, far too light for me, and it came in with the powder busted. This one's in light 4. I was able to exchange it when I went on a recent trip. I do have the brush. Yep, this is the double-ended brush that you can purchase with it. It's very expensive, in my opinion, for a single, I mean, it's really two ends, but for a single brush, I think it was like $53 or $58 or something like that. Great if you got a discount or a code that you can work with it, or a coupon or something, but it seems expensive for me. I've heard mixed feelings about this, and I think when I first tried it, I used too much. And I find that if I stipple in a little bit and then go in and kind of buff, it's actually pretty lightweight. I would call it medium buildable. Like I can go in kind of a little heavier on that blemish and it covers well, but I feel like the rest of my skin, I can just do a very, very light blended in skim of the color, and it does neutralize. You know, I don't feel like I've got any kind of like, I'm covering up that skin damage a little bit more here. I don't feel like I've got any kind of redness, not very much splotchiness, nothing that doesn't look like real skin. Hopefully I'm explaining it the right way. So it doesn't feel too heavily made up. I felt like when I put too much on when I was first using it, I felt like I had a lot of, it almost looked like it was filling in and sitting on top of my pores. I don't know how to describe it, but it definitely felt like it was sitting on my face. I've got a KKW double-ended contour wand here. I recently did a declutter, and I pulled this out of my declutter as, well, I bought this before the company closed, before the original KKW Beauty closed. I actually really like it. It's very creamy. I use both sides. One of them is a little bit of a warmer bronze and one of them is a cool tone. I'm kind of drawing on a little bit and it's very, I mentioned it's creamy, it's very creamy. I'm going to take a foundation brush and just kind of stipple over the top of it. And as you can tell, it blends so quickly. Yeah, and it looks great with that Patrick Ta. So I've been using this combination the last, I don't want to say the last like maybe 4 or 5 days, and it just feels really good on the skin. It feels good and I think I like the way it looks. So I kind of just blend it a little bit like this. Sometimes I brush it up if I feel like it's kind of a little bit too low, and stay on the nose. It's a little dark now on the nose. I might have to brighten that up just a little bit. We'll take the Charlotte Tilbury down the nose to give me a little bit more of a dimension. I don't want to look, sometimes people's nose contouring looks crazy. I mainly just want to cover up some of the discoloration from my glasses. And I don't think I brought in a eyeshadow primer in here. I was cleaning stuff out and organizing and I think I might have managed to skip that part. So we're gonna pretend that the dregs of that foundation is actually really an eyeshadow base. Okay, you guys know the Dior Backstage Rosy Glow Blush. Went viral last summer, I think. Everybody was very excited about it. Well, I have 2 other blushes that I think are very, very similar to it. One of them is from Pure and it's in the shade Tease. And one of them is from Believe Beauty and it's Born to Blush and Wink. These feel like they're really, really similar shades. So I'm gonna swatch these really fast on my hand. Which one might be a better match than the other one. Okay, it's gonna be hard to tell, but there's the 3. Okay, we've got over here, we have the one from Pure. Right here, we have the one from Believe Beauty, and right here we have the one from Dior. Those are the three shades. And I think these 2 are the most similar. I think the Pure and the Dior are very, very close. So I'm gonna put the Believe Beauty aside for now. I'm gonna grab the Dior powder. Let's scoot you in a little bit closer. At least you can actually see me now. Okay, I've got 2 Rephr 4 brushes. I'm gonna use one on one color, one on the other, just so that we're consistent. Okay, so this is the Dior blush, and I got it because everybody else did. And I was told early on that bright fuchsia blushes are good with my skin tone. And I was like, nah. And so I wear a lot more like apricot, coral, I don't know, sometimes just even bronzer as a blush. And now as I put that on, I'm like, what? This is the time of year when I should be wearing this color of blush. Yeah, that's lovely. So that's the Dior, and it's Dior. I mean, you expect it to be decent because, you know, you're paying for it. You're paying for the name, you're paying for the whatever. So I'm gonna take this blush and this brush and put it aside. I'm gonna grab the clean brush and the Pure Cosmetics. And again, this is in shade Tease. So let's see how this looks on this side. Oh my gosh. Are we gonna be able to tell the difference between these 2? That looks very similar to me. You guys tell me what you see, you know, on your device, if you think it looks like the same. But when I look here, I find they're both very, very pretty and very, very similar. And I don't know if you saw me walking down the street that you'd go, oh yeah, she's got two different blushes from 2 different brands on. Wow, that's kind of a fun dupe. I don't normally do like blush dupes. Normally I do, you know, eyeshadow dupes and I'm not thinking of it. Like it's, somebody else told me that they were supposed to be a dupe. Not that anyway, when I was doing my blush declutter, I pulled these 2 out because I wanted to kind of see if they looked similar, and I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say they do look similar. I didn't put anything on my lips yet. Let me throw something on. Speaking of KKW, I do have one of her lip liners. I grabbed this recently when I was going through organizing my regular makeup table. At the time I felt like I didn't have a brown 90s lip liner kind of at the ready, so I grabbed this one. And it's a pretty creamy formula, actually. I don't mind it at all. I feel like this blemish is, maybe it's not too bad. We're gonna leave it alone. Okay, and then I had originally found one of these Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood lips. It's like a matte lip cream. I'm gonna call it, I think they're probably considered a liquid lip, but I'm gonna call it a matte cream. And I can't read what shade this is. Hold on. This is in shade Too Bad I'm Bad. I don't know if this is the same shade as the other one that I have. I have one that I keep with my travel makeup stuff. I feel like the other one's a little lighter. This one I picked up from Amazon, having a really hard time finding this particular formula. I really wanted to find a dupe with the shade, but I couldn't remember the shade name. So I took a chance on this one, and aside from a few little travels outside of my lip line, yeah, I like it. Okay, you guys. Because I did a face full of makeup, I'm not going to do 3 looks with this palette. A lot of other people have already. This is the Not a Box of Chocolates from Colourpop. This So as I'm filming this, Juvia's Place just released like their coffee one, and it looks so similar to this. But this is the Not a Box of Chocolate 16 pan eyeshadow palette with 1, 2, 3. It looks like 7 kind of metallic-y shimmers, 1 satin, and then a bunch of the rest are all mattes. And I'm not upset by that at all. Now, as I like to do with palettes, sometimes I'll look, you know, down a column to see about a look. Those all look perfect. Sometimes I'll look down a row. And I gotta be honest, that's probably too dark and smoky unless it's date night, I guess. This is probably too light unless it's maybe work. I think the color combinations are really pretty. And I was like, do I need another brown neutral eyeshadow palette? And the answer is no, I don't really. But then I got swept up in the hype of everybody else using it. Guys, I have a problem. I have to be stopped. Don't do what I do. So let's throw on some of this and we're gonna see how it looks. I've got a couple of things I want to film today, but I don't have to do makeup for those. So actually I have one more thing I want to film. That's okay. I thought maybe it smelled like coffee, but it doesn't. Okay, so I'm gonna take the first shade in here is this neutral matte. I'm still flipping it over because I'm used to having a mirror in this palette, and this one doesn't have a mirror. So I'm gonna grab the first one, which is called Nougat, it looks like. And let's just see how this looks on my discolored eyes, because I didn't do any kind of like fancy eyeshadow primer today. My husband and his daughter are playing tonight. She's in a different band than my husband's band, and they're playing together, kind of a mashup of 2 bands, and I have no idea what I'm wearing yet. So this might be one of those things where I put on eyeshadow and then I decide what I'm going to wear based on whatever my eyeshadow looks like. Maybe I'll do looks today. I'm trying to decide if I have time to film something else too. I have to do some more editing while I'm home. Sometimes I try to edit when I'm traveling and I'm in a hotel room. Been pretty good like that most of the time. My last trip, not so much. So I will probably be finishing up, you know, like December's editing while I'm on my December trip. This may go up after that. Actually, no, I think this might go up while I'm on my December trip. We'll find out. Okay, so that one is barely discernible, but I feel like it kind of actually sort of neutralized some of the discoloration on my eyelid. So I'm actually happy with that. I'm going to take this shade right here. I've got the same brush. This is a rougher 01. So I'm taking the next darkest matte down, and it's called Praline. And that's going to be kind of like my transition shade. Okay, here's what I'm going to do, because I think this is how I'm going to use this palette. I think this palette might actually travel with, meaning that this is a palette that I think I could easily use for work. And then if I do something slightly more interesting on my travel days, like most of the days that I'm flying, I'm not actually doing meetings too, so I can be a little bit more me. And what I mean by that is usually kind of a little bit more darker, smokier, maybe even sparklier eyeshadow than I would do just for work. So I want to give this the kind of, you know, filter of, could I wear this for work? So I'm going to do what I would consider a work look first with this eyeshadow palette. And then I'm going to maybe doctor it up a little bit here. So we're doing good so far. We've got Nougat and Praline on here. I'm going to go slightly darker. I think it says on chip. It's this one right here. And this brush is a rougher 28. I give myself a little bit of mention right in here. If you guys are new to my channel, I don't do makeup tutorials because I'm not a professional makeup artist and I just don't feel qualified. But I have learned a lot over the years. And if you also have hooded, close set, mature eyelids, then perhaps the technique that I use, that I think I've kind of figured out works the best for me to make me look a little bit more awake, a little bit more wide-eyed. Maybe some of the concepts will work for you too. Typical Colourpop quality, I'm not noticing really any. I get a little skipping right here normally because of the way my eyelid is shaped. For the most part, the eyeshadow itself is going on very well, and it's blending into those other 2 shades so that it almost looks like the same shade, just sheared out, which is funny. It's interesting. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this down below. I didn't want to necessarily go too warm with this look because I've got the pink blush and the kind of more pink lips on, but I've used all like warm matte so far. Okay, so because of that, I am going to take this little bit of a darker shade here. I've skipped the shimmers and gone all to the mattes. I've got the same brush, I just kind of flipped it over a little bit, little tiny bit of kick up, and I'm taking it my lash line, bringing it up just a little bit here. And when I do my eyes, I tend to check looking in the mirror too, because if I look straight on, I can see where I want that shape to come in through and how I want to lift the lid a little bit. Darker colors will help it recede. And yeah, see, that kind of pulled that eye up a little bit, where this one I feel very hood heavy. So far so good. Okay, yeah, I'm liking the tones of these. It's actually working very, very well for me. Yeah, this will be a good work palette. I'm excited to have this. When I look for work palettes, I'm also looking for, you know, do they have a mirror? Do they have a hard case that's going to stay together? But I changed up my makeup bag that I travel with, and I think things stay together more condensed and more protected than, say, if I just had them in like a loose pouch type cosmetic case. Hopefully that makes sense. If you guys want a video of like some of my travel tips and tricks, because I'm on the road 1 or 2 weeks a month, which means 1 or 2 weeks a month I'm not doing domestic stuff at home. But if you guys want some things that I've learned over the years on travel, leave me a comment down below. If not, if you're not interested, that's fine too. I have a ton of footage that I filmed from some of my trips that I need to sit down and edit and put into a travel channel. I'll let you know if that ever goes up. Okay, so I used 4 shades, right? I used this light one, I used this one, I used this one, and this one. I'm basically just kind of going down here. So those are the only ones that I've used so far. I think for work, I might take maybe Praline or maybe the lighter one all over my lid. Let me clean this brush off just a little bit because I can't remember what was on it. I'm gonna take Praline because I think that's a little bit darker shade here. Yeah. So for work, for a regular work day, I might do something just like that. Very, very little amount of any kind of shimmery, hi Zeus, any kind of shimmery texture on the lid. And I would leave it predominantly a neutral like this. I might even blend this out a little bit more out here. I'm trying to think of you know, how I would use this for work. And again, you may be in a work environment that's a little bit more creative. I want to look polished and professional and serious and trustworthy and all those things. So you got to look about, you know, what kind of image you're sending, all those different subtle cues on your personality and whatever else. So I want it to look like I haven't tried too hard. I want it to look, you know, polished and professional. And I want to feel pretty. So anyway, that's kind of what I would do probably for work. Mascara, powder, setting spray. Okay, I want to take this up just a little bit more, and I want to get into a little bit more of these pinker colors, because like this purple right here, super pretty. These are all like cool tones. That's pretty too. You know what? I'm going to use both of these. So I'm going to take Nut Butter right here on my finger. My finger looks like it's relatively clean. And I'm going to put this kind of in the center of that lid. That is a beautiful bronze. One of my favorite colors on brown eyes is more of like a bronzy shade. That's really, really pretty. Okay, I should switch fingers, but since this one's already sullied, we'll just leave this over here. So I've kind of taken this from, you know, how I would normally wear it for work, and now we're amping it up for either, you know, if I have to do something after work, or if I'm traveling, or if I'm going from, you know, the airport straight to, you know, seeing my husband or something like that, I might do something a little bit more like this. Okay, so that was called Nut Butter. And now I'm gonna take Cherry Cordial, which is this one down here. And we're gonna take a little, oh my gosh, it's so creamy. And this purple, I'm just kind of tapping right over the outer portion of that lid. Now, if you notice, because I've got a darker shade on my lids now all of a sudden my eyes look a little smaller than they did before, I think. Again, that whole concept of light and dark. You guys know this already. I'm not telling you don't already know. Loving that. Okay, I need a lighter shade though. And there's so many, these shades here are so beautiful. These two. They're like a taupey, cool tone. This one looks like it almost maybe has a little bit of green back behind it, and where this one's a little bit, again, more of kind of like a taupe shade. They're so pretty, but I'm not doing them. Okay, and that one is gorgeous too. I want to just do this all over my lid with a little bit of a shade, one of the shades next to it, to kind of buff it out. I think that would be spectacular. I'm gonna take this gold down here. Love golds and purples, and I feel like those, like the Cherry Cordial and that other shade, are just slightly more on a purple undertone, which I was hoping would go well with that pink blush. Wow, I love this formula. I forget about Colourpop, you guys. I have so much Colourpop, and to me it's like, oh, it's a budget-friendly brand, and I spend so much time really focused on some of the other ones. Like I have a Nomad Cosmetics palette in front of me that I really want to film with, and I get excited about those, and then I kind of forget about, oh, well, it's just Colourpop. Everybody else has already done their video on Colourpop, and then I go and use it, and I'm like, Why did I wait so long? Now, part of the reason why I waited so long is because I was traveling. Okay, I'm gonna take this matte, a little bit more of a plummier matte, and this one's called That's Rich. You know, now I just want hot cocoa. I'm gonna take a little of this along my lash line here. It's a little bit more purpley than that brown that I used earlier, but the brush I'm using I didn't clean off, and it's a little bigger than I need to, so which is good because I wanted it to kind of be soft and not necessarily a harsh line. Okay, totally smoky, totally not something I would wear to work, but I am loving this so much. Wow. I didn't know I needed another chocolate palette, you guys. Didn't know. All right, let me put some powder on. I'm gonna use the Rare Beauty setting powder. I picked this up a while back. It's in light medium, and I meant to use it on camera, and then I realized I had because it's been just sitting at my regular makeup table because I've been so obsessed with it. I like the fact that it's got a little sifter that slides open so you keep more of the product in the container. I'm gonna tap a little bit of it out on the lid, pick up some of it, and we'll just set down Patrick Ta stuff and the Charlotte concealer. This will make it last a little bit longer. And it's toning down some of that bright pink. And again, I have the Dior on this side, and then I have the Pure Beauty on, or Pure Cosmetics on this side. And I honestly don't know that I can tell much of a difference. How fun. How fun to find a good dupe. I don't remember if I've ever heard anybody talk about those two being a dupe or not. Okay guys, let me throw some mascara on. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm back. I love every single product I put on my face today. I know that this is a little bit maybe darker and smokier and heavier than, you know, one would need. Where's my, I need a brush here. I'm gonna just take my concealer brush and kind of blend out underneath here a little bit. You know, I don't think you need to go as dark as I do just for fun, but I like the fact that this palette has that versatility. That makes me super happy. Do you need another brown eyeshadow palette? No, you don't need it like I don't need it, but if you don't have one, or you're due for a new one, maybe you have one that's getting a little dated, maybe it's time for a new one, I would absolutely recommend this. And I'm excited to take it with me when I travel because I think it gives me some versatility. It gives me the shades that I want, the softness that I want that I can use for work, and then, you know, can I amp it up a little bit? I can. Today I used the Fenty Beauty mascara. I haven't used this one in a while. I've been using some other ones. I really like the Tower 28. I don't mind this one. I think the interesting thing is this one doesn't give me quite as much length on the first coat dry down as say like the Tower 28 one does, but I can build it up on, if I give it a second to dry down and go on with a second coat. I do feel like this one gives me a lot of like beautiful soft volume. So it's not a bad mascara. If you guys haven't tried this, you know, consider revisiting it. But anyway, that's my makeup for today. You guys, I'm super excited. Stick around. I tend to upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday, typically. December's a little bit special though. And I've been around on YouTube for a couple years now. So I'm still learning. I'm still learning as I go. I hope you guys are doing really well. And consider hitting that subscribe button. Ring the bell if you like this kind of content. And I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.